Depending on how old you are for that many years, you're taking all that data in and the information, and then you come up with the right?
Well, I'm saying, as a human, if you trust in yourself and your own opinions, you could always be wrong, right? Because you don't know everything about everything.
Well, your opinions change throughout time.
Right, but how
you might have affiliated with in the political level when you're in your 20s might change from your 30s to 40s, 50s.
Right.
Depending on life circumstances and what's going on in your life with your family and what.
Yeah, but how do you know? But I'm saying, at a philosophical level, if you trust in what you think about reality, how can you know that what you're perceiving is true? Or like, how do you know it's true and it's not true?
You don't.
You don't? So
but once you put all your faith in one thing, aren't you limiting yourself to something else?
No, because so we're always viewing the world through like a view, a certain interpretation of reality. And so everybody interprets reality. A lot of people interpret reality through their consciousness and according to their own opinions. But then there's people who interpret reality. They listen to what God says, and He interprets it for us. Actually, He reveals to us what's true about reality in His Word, the Bible. That's what He's given to us, so that we can understand the true nature of reality. Because He knows everything. He created the universe, and He doesn't lie. So that's a trustworthy source of revelation. If we trust in revelation from finite, limited consciousness that we don't, that doesn't know everything, that could always be wrong, and for all we know could be deceiving us, if we trust in that, how can we be justified in believing anything to be true? Knowledge is justified true belief. So when you know something, you're justified in believing that it's true, and it is true. But
based on you are a product of your environment and what you have intake.
Yeah, that does influence people's thoughts and desires, but when they're trusting in themselves, there's no way that they can be consistent and at the same time say, yeah, I actually know the true nature of reality, and like, this is true, that's not true. When they make statements about reality, there's no way for them to be justified in those statements. So if you care about truth, if you care about knowledge, then you won't trust in your own opinions. You won't trust in finite, limited consciousness that, for all you know, is deceiving you. You're going to trust in what God says.
But it sounds like you've come to maybe like a finite point where you feel as though you can move forward, but not everybody's like that. Some people need a little bit more time to intake a little bit more information to make a rational decision that knows what by somebody else's finite views.
But at that point, you're still putting faith in your own mind, in your own interpretation of reality, and therefore you can't know what's true. Like, for an example, how can you know that I exist right now? How do you know I'm not a figment of your imagination? How do you know you're not talking to yourself right now?
And you make a good point, but I can still move on and say, I don't know. But that's okay, I can still keep going. But if you put a finite view of something, then you're limited.
No. I'm not. I'm appealing to the unlimited mind of God who knows everything. So that's what I'm appealing to. That's what I'm looking to for truth. But you limit yourself when you don't trust in that, and every word that you speak just ends up not making any sense. Like when you say, I can go do this, well, how do you know what is I? Like when you use a singular pronoun, what are you referring to with that pronoun? What is I? When you say I, what do you mean?
I? Well, it depends on how you interpret the word I.
So is I a singular thing? Is it like, is your consciousness like attached to like what? Like, what are you believing about reality when you say the word I?
When I say I?
Yeah.
It depends on how I take it, and depending on how I interpret when you say I. When you say I to me, I make that assumption, and I could be an ass making an ass out of you and me, but I assume that you're talking about myself.
Yeah.
I reflect myself, so I would say I as myself in first person.
Yeah, so how do you know that I exists? How do you know? Yeah, why would you use a singular pronoun to refer to your consciousness? Why not use a plural pronoun like we? Maybe because maybe everything in your consciousness is actually like everything you perceive in your consciousness actually belongs to different entities. So maybe you should be saying we every time you talk to me. So why have you chosen to say I instead of we?
Because that's how, from school, that's how, you know, I would say I, you know, I'm doing this.
Yeah, so you don't know. You can't know.
Doing this.
Right. So you trust in that, but there's no way to know that that's the true nature of reality. So you shouldn't trust in your own opinions or what other people have told you. You shouldn't trust in finite, limited consciousness. You should trust in the unlimited consciousness of God, who knows everything, so you can justify your beliefs and be consistent, and then come to true conclusions about reality and not lead yourself astray. So,
but what I'm saying is that you found a finite view. Oh, so you.
No, what do you mean by that?
On a sliding scale, if you see something on a physical level, and you have a sliding scale that goes left to right, or right to left, or up and down, you actually have a pinnacle, a summit of where hierarchy. So you have a finite view.
What do you mean? What are you talking about? You're talking about what hierarchy?
When you say that you believe in God, then you have put at the very top a certain belief.
Right. So because I recognize.
So from there, when you talk to me, and I might not believe that, it's a moot point.
Well, it's not. It's
over and over.
It's not though. It's not a moot point because I'm telling you that the only way you can justify beliefs, the only way you can have knowledge, is when you have revelation from the all-knowing being and not finite, limited consciousness that could always be deceiving you. Don't you see that there's no other way for you to justify beliefs?
Yeah, but you need that. You need to have a finite view. Some people, not everybody needs a finite view. They're okay.
Well, if you care about truth, you'll need the Christian worldview. If you don't care about truth, then that's a big problem.
I don't need to know the truth for every single thing. It sounds like you're a man that needs to know the truth.
I'm just talking about I'm talking about one.
The idea that like his view is more finite and your view is more, I guess, up in the air, undetermined. You're actually imposing a certain idea on reality. You're saying that his view is that the universe is finite, right?
Well, he's saying that.
Well, you're making a judgment call, right? But
I'm not making a judgment call.
He could be a figment of your imagination.
I'm just repeating what he has told me. Now, from that point, I didn't attack him and say, "Oh, you know what? You're limited."
Would it be a problem if you?
So, but he comes to me and says,
"You have a finite view."
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. If I were to show you that you have a finite view, would that be a problem for what you're saying right now?
What do you mean?
So if I were to show you that you're actually taking a finite view right now,
but saying that I'm open.
Yeah. So here's the problem. If you're totally open to everything, if there's no limitation in reality whatsoever, it actually gets you in a place where you can't know anything at all. Mm-hmm. So even the idea that you're open to everything contradicts the reasoning that you're trying to enforce here.
Well, no, I'm not trying to enforce anything. I'm trying to find what might work best for me. You know what I mean? To move forward.
Right,
you know?
right. So it's the idea that we should all live and let live, right?
And then
you're trying to advance the view that we should all live and let live, right? Like you should have your view, I can have mine.
There has to be some kind of cohabitation, you know?
Okay,
I was on the train,
that's what I'm saying. That principle, right? That principle itself is finite.
You know, I know we're not supposed to do that. Right. You know what I'm saying?
I get what you're saying, but what you're saying there is finite. It's a view that is based on a principle that says I should let you live and you should let me live. You're making an appeal to us to allow each other to have different views.
I'm not making an appeal to anybody.
You're interpreting reality in a certain way. That's your belief system that you believe in. So you've chosen. So right now you're choosing to believe that I exist and he exists as different entities that are not you. That we can use these certain pronouns to refer to like entities. You're trusting in this conception of reality. So you're putting faith in that. And I'm saying you shouldn't put faith in that because you can't justify those beliefs. You should put faith in what God says, because that's a sure epistemological foundation. You can trust in what he says. When you trust in your own opinions, you could always be wrong, and therefore you don't know it's true. So if you actually care about truth, then you'll trust in the revelation from God, who doesn't lie, who knows everything. But right now you're trusting in yourself and your limited mind that could always be wrong. You see that?
I can understand that. I can understand that, but I don't need a finite view to move forward.
But you have that. You have a view, a certain view of reality that contains certain like propositions about the nature of reality. You believe certain things about reality. That is your finite view. That is your view.
That things can change.
And every time.
What if the finite view is the correct view, and what you're saying right now is incorrect? It's not right.
What if?
Yeah. Would you concede that it's possible that you could be totally wrong on this?
Anything could be possible.
Okay,
you know what I mean?
but if you say that though, if you say anything could be possible, that means you can't even make the statement itself. Because if anything could be possible, you could be wrong about anything being possible. So you don't know that. But you're claiming it like you know it.
I'm not claiming it like I know it, but I know that, you know, I'm
So when you say I'm not
walking
claiming
this
it
way,
like I know, you say I'm not claiming it like I know it. Is that a claim about what you're claiming? Is that a knowledge claim about what you're claiming? Do you know you're not claiming it like you know it?
I know that I don't know everything. I know that some things that I think I know, I really don't know.
Well, what I'm trying to point out,
and I'm
that's
okay with that.
right. That's infinitely regressive. So, if like you do the 2-year-old toddler thing where you just ask why, right?
Sure.
And what you're doing right now is an infinite regress. It's where if I were to say, well, do you know that you're not making a knowledge claim, right? You have to keep backing it up and say, well, no, I don't know that. No, I don't know anything, right? It becomes infinitely regressive, and that can't justify anything with an infinite regress. If your worldview is actually infinitely regressive, there's no way that you're actually going to be able to make a claim that should be able to stand, right?
But you're making an assumption that I will make a claim about something that I might think I know, but I don't know.
But you are.
Okay to me, but it's okay to me that I don't know about certain things.
So, but every time you say the word "I," you're claiming to know that you're claiming to know that I exists. Okay. So what is I? Like when you say I, what are you referring to?
We've already had this conversation.
So right, but how do you know what I is? You haven't justified your belief in I. So that's the problem.
Because you made a lot of psychological claims about yourself. Right? When you're saying I, you're making claims about what's going on in your head. You're saying, I don't know this or I don't know that, or I'm not making that as a knowledge claim. You're just assuming it. But all of those statements that you're making are knowledge claims about yourself, right? And so I'm saying, if you can't know anything, you don't even know what you're thinking. You don't even know accurately whether or not you actually think you have knowledge claims or whether or not they're not knowledge claims. But you keep claiming them as though they're knowledge claims. You're saying, no, I'm not saying that's a knowledge claim. You're trying to clarify what your psychology is. Those are all knowledge claims. And with your worldview, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, it's infinitely aggressive.
But that also means that you have to assume that I'm having a conversation with you on a very maybe like emotional, heartfelt way. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm going to walk away from you and say, no, that was that. You know what I'm saying? And I'm going to walk away and say, okay, I spent a little time with these guys, but it's not going to be sitting on me that heavily. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I don't go walking away and say, oh, I got all this information, I'm going to process it now, and then say, okay, this is how I'm going to go.
Why not? Why wouldn't you think deeply about what we've told you? Why doesn't it matter to you?
Because I don't know you. I don't know you.
But why? But if you care about truth, why wouldn't you just care about coming to a knowledge of the truth?
Because you make a claim that the truth is based upon, what your thoughts and beliefs are.
No, I didn't say that. No, I'm saying the truth is based. We know truth through what God reveals to us about what's true, not based on our own opinions.
And whatnot. I wanted to at least give it to you guys who are out here, and obviously you believe in something, and I see a certain amount of passion, so I wanted to give you a little time for that. That's what I wanted
Thanks,
to do.
man. Yeah, you got to trust in what God says, because you're gonna end up in hell if you go your own way. Jesus Christ is the only way to escape the punishment for sin. We've all sinned against God. Have you heard the gospel before?
I have.
Yeah. So, yeah, man.
Thanks for your time, man.
You should trust that.
All right. Thanks, man.
Thanks, man.
You did it in a really kind, intelligent way. I appreciate it.